realized that we can easily get more than 70 meetings booked for ourselves a month using cold email. And right now we are at the pace where we consistently generate anywhere from 150 to 200 appointments every month. We even had one campaign where we reached 22% reply rate for the creator economy.
Anything else that would be helpful for people who are like maybe on the fence with Instantly and just getting started?
Maybe a more philosophical advice. So obviously we all want to start and grow and build amazing things. But I think one question you also need to ask yourself.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another Instantly case study, joined by Igor Shapiro from UltB. Igor, welcome in.
Austin, thank you very much for the introduction and thank you very much for the invite. It's a real pleasure and honor to be here.
Yeah, well, you've earned it with all your success with cold email. So really pumped to learn from you and share what you've been able to achieve using cold email, using Instantly, and share with the people watching and hopefully inspire some people today. So before we get into all the sauce and all the value for the people watching, why don't you just give a quick intro, who you are, what you do, all that good stuff.
Sure. So my name is Igor. I'm the founder of UltB. We are a German-based lead generation company, obviously mostly focusing on email as a channel for our clients. So far, we've built more than 200 projects for our clients, building pipelines. And then geographically, when it comes to the focus, we mostly work with companies from Europe and North America.
Very cool. And you've won the Instantly awards. Like, you're crushing it, man. You're doing a great job.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that was a huge surprise and a huge honor for us to get the award as a top agency of yours for generating more than 5,000 B2B sales opportunities for our clients last year.
Yeah, love it. Well, let's kind of maybe share a little bit about the journey of how you landed on using cold email, how you landed on starting this business, how you've had so much success. So why don't you kind of go back and kind of give the journey of how we're at where we are now?
Sure. So my personal background is from the venture industry, building ventures. I was working for a large German incubator as a managing director, launching ventures in Europe and Southeast Asia. And then when I started my own business, we first started with a business model of connecting advertisers and content creators. So something like a classical influencer marketing agency. And as any agency, we faced the problems, okay, how can we get those leads? How can we create opportunities for us to sell our services? And I guess those have been the first touch points with lead generation.
Mm-hmm.
We first started using LinkedIn, manually approaching people, obviously my own network, but realized that, okay, this is drying out quickly, not really scalable, faced some issues with getting blocked and banned by LinkedIn back days. Yeah, and then we've been looking for a more scalable and sustainable solution.
Yeah.
So it was the obvious choice. And then we did our first steps using some automation tools and realized that we can easily get more than 70 meetings booked for ourselves a month using cold email.
Wow.
And that was a breakthrough. That was back in 2022. And to be honest, I had experience back then with cold email.
Yeah.
So doing mistakes, rookie mistakes. But then the success was for us so groundbreaking that other entrepreneurs in my community, they started approaching me, asking for advice. Hey, how do you do that? Can you help us? And that's when I first realized, hey, there's actually a bigger problem to solve in the market.
Yeah.
Rather than building an influencer marketing agency, why not helping other companies generating leads?
Love it. So basically managing director at a company, you're like, okay, I'm going to go jam my own thing. I'm gonna start this whole influencer marketing thing. And you're like, oh crap, to start a business, I need leads. And then you started hitting up LinkedIn, hitting up your network, doing probably things the organic way or kind of the unscalable way. And you kind of reached that cap because you're like, oh crap, this isn't actually scalable. I'm getting banned. There's limits on everything. And there's no way to really hit the metrics that we want to do. And then you're like, let me try this cold email thing out. And then what do you know? It worked for you for getting your business. And then people kept asking you for help. I mean, that's kind of how a lot of businesses start is they acquire a skill set and then they use that skill set to do that. So I guess with like cold email, why did you finally decide on cold? Because you could probably run ads. You could probably continue with you could scale LinkedIn outreach. Like that's for sure. You could run like organic. You could do a campaign there. You could do a lot of different methods. Like what really sold you on cold email? And like just devoting it because you've been doing it for the last few years and you haven't changed, obviously. So yeah, tell us more about that.
So coming from a venture industry and building companies and looking obviously further or seeing how many companies fail, I guess this is not a secret that 80% of companies are newly founded, they will fail within the
Hmm.
next years. And I was always a big fan of finding scalable channels and channels which bring a good ROI.
Hmm.
And after trying multiple things, obviously LinkedIn was the easiest way to try. We realized that yes, it's possible to scale, but it's not that easy. So there
Hmm.
must be a more easier way. I'm a big fan of choosing a path with the least resistance
Yeah.
and obviously keeping in mind how can we do not just plus 50%, but how can we do 10x of that?
Yep.
And to be honest, email was the obvious choice.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you. Okay, cool, man.
We also, context,
Yeah.
I was working longly for a long time in the SEO industry where people optimized web pages for traffic. And people always told me SEO is dead.
Hmm.
There's no future. And then I was listening to this for 5, 10 years, but obviously seeing companies thriving and doing a good job. Same with any channel.
Yeah.
Right now, people are saying email is dead, but it's not true. That's because people don't get it right.
Yeah. They don't do it
That's
right. Yeah.
any channel can be dead if you don't do it right.
110%. Couldn't agree more. Yeah. Let's talk about like instantly in general. So, as you were using cold email, did you try a bunch of different softwares? And then, if so, like what made you land on instantly as the channel of choice to scale to the volume that you're scaling to? And we're gonna get more into that later on.
Yeah, no, definitely a good question. So obviously we started with some basic automations first without instantly, and we tried a bunch of competitors. But again, we realized that scalability was too expensive at those. Why? Because if you want more meetings booked, you need to send more emails. If you want to send more emails, what do you need? Obviously, you need the data, but that's the easiest part. And then you need the sender accounts. And in order to have more sender accounts, you need to have more warmed up sender accounts. And consequently, most of the other providers besides Instantly, they've been too expensive charging per sender account added. So the unit economics that just didn't match. With Instantly, we found a provider where we can basically upload unlimited amount of sender inboxes and connect them to a proper warm-up system. I think this was the main differentiator for us
Yeah.
when
And
choosing
now
a
you've been
provider.
using it for the past few years and continue to use it as and it's probably grown as you've grown too, just with
Absolutely.
all the,
Just a huge shout out and amazing congrats to your development team. I see that your roadmap, this is amazing. You've been
yeah.
adding features over the last months and years, and this is amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
so when it started just as an email sending tool, now you can get the data there. There's a CRM, there's a Unibox, and there are more complex features for the tech people like us,
Yeah.
because obviously at a certain volume you need to be more tech savvy.
Yep.
And what you've been doing, that's amazing. So
Yep.
congrats to that.
Love it. Yep. Cool, man. So we got some context. We got the why and the how using instantly. So why don't you share some of the results that you've been able to get with instantly? I mean, you're sending over 1 million emails per month, which is pretty remarkable. But is there anything that highlights and stands out to you for people who are maybe thinking, I don't know about this whole cold email thing. I don't know if this is actually a thing for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, we made our mistakes. We didn't send 1 million emails a month from the start. It was a journey. And I guess we made all the mistakes possible on that
Yeah.
journey. Definitely. Now, right now, we consider one of the largest senders. When it comes to the actual results, obviously, we've been awarded last year for generating more than 5,000 B2B sales opportunities for our clients through Instantly, through email alone as a channel. When it comes to the more differentiated results on campaigns, we launched, I guess, more than 1,000 campaigns so far. And what is important is that you constantly need to test them. There's no one size fits all solution. You need to see what works best. We've seen very successful campaigns reaching 8 to 10 to 12% reply rate. And that's obviously significantly above industry average. We even had one campaign where we reached 22% reply rate for the creator economy. Obviously, that's a very niched offer. And the more closer you define your niche, the higher you can achieve the results. Yeah? When it comes to our own pipeline, obviously we eat our own medicine. Yeah? So we use email also as a channel for our own outreach to get our own clients. That's also the main channel for us. And right now we are at the pace where we consistently generate anywhere from 150 to 200 appointments every month for our own funnel.
Wow.
That's all in cold email,
Yeah.
for instance.
Crazy. So 1 million emails sent for you and your clients every single month. You've had campaigns reach upwards of 22% reply rates. So you know how to do that. Anywhere from 8 to 12. You've also been able to generate. And you're booking yourself 150 book calls every single month using cold email.
Yeah.
Pretty killer results.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
But
So
we've made all the mistakes on the journey possible.
Of course. So that's why you're.
It's a snapshot where we are right now.
Yeah. And that's why I'm going to ask you, if you were going to start again, or if someone's watching this and they're thinking, oh, I want to start cold email, what advice are you going to give to those people?
Yeah. I guess at the beginning, the simplest advice, you just need to start. Many people overthink and spending too much time on, okay, should I approach, should I not approach? Right now, instantly made it so easy to start. There's literally no excuse why you shouldn't do this. Fail fast, fail quick, and then iterate. Yeah, so the main idea is just do it, just start. When it comes to the more granular advice, obviously I'm a big fan of volume and big fan of Alex Hormozy, who says volume negates luck. So if you don't get results, you need to send more emails. Yeah? I think one of the main mistakes people do when sending cold outreach emails, they do a campaign, 500 people, 1,000 people approached, they're not getting results, and then they stop.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, this is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
If you're sending that volume, if that's your ambition, don't even try. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to get significant results from email outreach, you need to go with the volume. Obviously, you need to approach people who are relevant. Yeah? This is also a task you need to fix. Yeah? This is your goal on the journey. But the main recommendation would be send more emails if you're not getting the right results. Obviously, this is the first step. And the next step is you need to test. People often ask me, what's the best template? And I tell them there is no template.
Mm-hmm.
This is the wrong mindset. Yeah? So I'm a big fan of thinking in frameworks rather than in templates. And that's also what we teach our clients. Like there are more than 12, 15 proven frameworks which we use.
Mm-hmm.
And some frameworks work better for some clients and vice versa. And nobody knows. Nobody knows what will work the best. Yeah? So you need to really have a system in place to test and iterate. So that would be the second dimension. And the third dimension, which is a more tricky, so once you figure out the groundwork, hyper-personalization. This is a major keyword for us and in our company. You need to make sure that every email is hyper-personalized. Right now, you have all the tools available. There's so much data in the internet. Obviously, AI is a big thing. You can use AI enrichment. We are big fans of that. So we are heavily on AI invested. Obviously, hyper-personalized outreach when it comes to the videos we are sending. So this is maybe already taking a bit of a step forward. We are big fans of sending Loom videos as a call to action. So we use lots of hyper-personalization there. Those would be the three dimensions.
Nice. So when you said like framework, what would you say are the key components to a framework? Like what actually makes up a framework? Is it personalized line? That's what you mentioned. Call to action, offer. Like what makes sense in your guys' system?
Obviously, there are different frameworks with different elements. Some frameworks have more elements, some less. But in very basic language, obviously, you have the subject line. And I'm a big fan of internal camouflage subject lines. So when people...
I like that word.
Like it was sent from some colleague. Yeah? It's not like an internal email. Very short, 1 word, 2 word subject lines. When it comes to the body, keep it short. We always cross-test our emails for reading time. And the main recommendation is below 20 seconds silent reading time,
Nice.
ideally below 15. So you will end up something around 80 to 120 words, very
Mm-hmm.
short. I need to say there are frameworks, and we also use them successfully, where we send longer emails, but those are more advanced frameworks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't
Yeah.
recommend it for the start. And then obviously you need to personalize the first line to catch attention. Start with a problem, with a value prop. Social proof is important.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the call to action, low friction call to actions. Yeah? So
Yeah.
this is what we preach.
Mm-hmm.
Low friction call to action. Very simple yes or no answer. And then if you want a bonus tip, when it comes to sequences, I'm a big fan of Chris Voss. Chris Voss is a leading FBI hostage negotiator.
Mm-hmm.
He's done tons of material on sales and obviously for B2B sales. And one principle really stood out is, I guess he refers to it as no-oriented questions. So instead of asking, can I send you, or can we have a call? Instead of asking for a call, turn it into a no-oriented question.
Mm.
Like, would you be opposed having a call?
Mm-hmm.
Would you be against me sending that Loom video? Yeah? So it makes
Love it.
guards down, which lets the guard fall down.
Totally.
Yeah. So it
Love it,
counteracts
man. These are
this.
some great tips. I'm gonna even implement some of these myself.
You're the guru here.
No way. I'm learning every single time I talk to people. So,
I'm also a big believer of the Triple L framework, which stands for lifelong learning. You
yeah,
always learn something,
totally.
even if you're the best at something. I try to dedicate a few hours a week for just learning certain skills or tools
Yep.
that keeps us up to pace.
Yeah. Paramount, man. Cool. Anything else that would be helpful for people who are like maybe on the fence with instantly and just getting started? I mean, your first like 2 tips were probably the most valuable for anybody watching, which is just start and send a lot of volume, even if it feels like it's too much. So, anything else to leave people as they watch?
Maybe a more philosophical advice. So obviously we all want to start and grow and build amazing things. But I think one question you also need to ask yourself: what kind of problem are you solving? In the
Mm-hmm.
business you're doing, is it having a product market fit? So what I realized, there are many great people out there with crazy ideas, and they start doing any kind of outreach, doesn't matter email or LinkedIn. And then they realize their product is shit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, nobody needs their product, right? They have the wrong market. And then they start to blame the channel, like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
email is not working, where in fact they need to make a step back and ask themselves, okay, do I have a product market fit? And is there a market for that, right? So is the market big enough? And obviously, email as a channel works best where you have an already defined product market fit and you have a reasonably large, we call it a total addressable market. So
Yeah.
you need to make an exercise, make sure there's a certain amount of people who really need that product, and then send your compelling offer and your email.
Yeah. Love that tip.
Otherwise, you will start blaming the channel, and in the
Totally.
end, it's not about the channel.
Yep. Focus on product, focus on offer, focus on I like the total addressable market, not having basically something that is in left field for who are emailing.
Exactly. So everything is a funnel. And also one thing on cold email, many people have too high expectations when it comes to cold email. They believe
Yeah.
they will start selling from the first email. So they
Mm-hmm.
believe, okay, I'm going to approach 200 people and one of them will instantly close from
Mm-hmm.
that call. It's not going to work like that.
Mm-hmm.
So email is a great channel to start a conversation.
Yep.
That's your goal. You don't need to sell through your cold outbound emails. You need to start building a relationship, start a conversation, and then to create the opportunity, right? So get
Yep.
people on a call, trigger curiosity, and that's on the call where you help people to make a decision if your product is right.
Yep.
Also have the right expectation here.
Yep. Couldn't agree more. Patience. I mean, I was the guy who would send out as many emails as possible trying to get a call, and it did not work. So
Yeah, yeah. In general, every journey, especially this part of the journey, you need to have a right expectation on rejection. Most people will not answer your email, and that's fine, right? That's
Mhm.
where the reply comes from. And most people who will join the call, they won't close. This is part of the
I love
funnel.
that.
You will face action. And
Yeah.
if you're not ready for that, it's not about the channel, it's in general about doing business. You need to
Yeah.
love the game, you need to be ready for that. And that's part of the funnel.
Yep.
Some will close, some won't. So you need to
100%.
continue.
Love it. Expectation management here. Igor, thank you so much for sharing a little bit about your story. I appreciate you coming on.
It was a pleasure for me, Austin. Thanks for
Yep.
having me here.
Of course.